Dad.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Great.
Good.
Doing good.
Thanks for coming on tonight, even though this is, our stream together.
No, it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
We're going to do some Web 3 and do some comparisons of Web 1.0, Web 2.0, and kind of maybe some of the projects that are on the Pulse chain because it's a Ethereum-based network, and some of the things that are on that, and some of the new projects that are coming out exclusively on Pulse chain. So, yeah, I think that's the agenda for the night.
Awesome. Should we say hi to some people in our chat super quick?
Sure.
Let's see. Jim Rat said that he's going to be here, so we'll see when he shows up. That'll be fun. Let's see. Hey, Nicholas. And it looks like Old School Chemistry's here. Hello. Arth, hello. And looks like Crypto Crazy stopped by super quick too. Hey, everyone. Oh, and we also have Mir Zen. Hi. I'm super excited to jump into this topic. I've heard you talk about Web 3.0 for a while now, and I was always like, okay, well, what exactly does that mean? Because, right now we are living in the Web 2.0 world. And so it was interesting doing research for this, just seeing where everything's going to go web-wise, because there is a lot of potential moving forward into Web 3.0. But first, let's go over what has come in the past with Web 1.0 and then Web 2, and then moving into the future with Web 3. So you actually lived during Web 1.0 when the World Wide Web was created by Tim Berners-Lee. And so as I was doing research on this, it was just interesting because I was born in the late 90s, but, I didn't really experience any of this. And so I'd love to get your view on how it was when the World Wide Web came out.
So this was probably mid 90s. I remember, I think it was Windows 3.1. And I think that, I'm trying to remember what the browsers were. There was Netscape and there was something else. So basically there was only two things you could even do. You could browse and look at things. I'm trying to remember if you could even shop, or everything was just write only. But it was very restricted. You were able to just search for things, but it was very, very limited. Yeah, I think, and then Windows 95 came out, and that was a huge leap for the mid 90s anyway. But yeah, the operating systems were just coming out, and besides having MS-DOS, which most of us actually, I remember downloading into RAM, the operating system. So before you could do anything, you had to download MS-DOS off of a floppy into RAM, and then you had to load your program into RAM and work from there, and then save everything on a floppy because there wasn't even an internal hard drive. So that's how far back it was. But yeah, it was basically very limited. You could search for information. You could look at somebody's website. I think at some point you could purchase things early on. Or just get their phone number off of the website and then call them and give them a credit card or something if you wanted to buy it. And then we had email, which was kind of in its infancy as well. So that was really the Web 1 experience. It was not interactive. It was not, you couldn't, I don't remember anywhere where you could comment. It was basically, here's the info for whatever they wanted to, you looked for, and that was it.
Wow. So it was very basic. As I did more research on Web 1.0, it talked about how there were three main things that were brought about. And the first thing was the HTML, which is the coding language that we typically see now on web pages, which is just very basic. It's so that was created then, and then URLs were created, as well as HTTPS. And so those were the three main things. So that was interesting. It's like, oh, well, we still use those. And so it seemed like Web 1.0 was a wonderful foundation moving forward into Web 2.0. But it was very basic.
Yeah, no, it was read only, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice. When did you get your first laptop?
I actually got my first laptop in 1987.
Okay. So
It was a Yamaha C1 music computer that had, and I still have it actually.
didn't
So
know that.
it was a music computer that did MIDI. It did musical instrument, did a digital interface. So I hooked it up to some synthesizers and some samplers, and then I had a program that was called a sequencer. So that's the first laptop I bought. I think it was like $2,000 back in like 1987.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
and I still have it, and it still works. You just use the old operating system. Now that's why I told you had to download. You had to download the operating system into RAM, and I think it had like 512 with an extended like 620 or 720K, so 512K. So it wasn't even a 1 megabyte, but the programs were pretty small.
Oh my gosh. That is really small. Let's say hi to some people in our chat. Hey, Rick, what's up? Truth Monsters here. Thanks for the content, fam. Arth said, I don't know what 3.0 is. I'm going to learn. That's great because I was just learning like the past hour and a half what it is. Bayou, what's the word on the web? Devin's here. Hello. We have Crypto Gains Club 369. Windows 95 was my first. That's awesome. Let's see. Hexinator is here. It looks like Jim Rat's here. What's up? Good to see you. And then let's see. Who else do we have here? Morton Superlight, NCSA, Mosaic ran on Windows computers, was easy to use, and gave anyone with a PC access to early web pages. Okay. That's awesome. And then it looks like Tyrannosaurus Hex is here. Hello, Fashion Coder and Dad. Love the little dinosaur. And then that's a lot of Scratch in 87.
Yeah, I was rich back then. I worked.
Yeah. Holy cow. That's awesome. So the World Wide Web came out in the early 90s. And did you start using it like mid 90s? Is that what you
I did. I actually was in school, so at the university. I think I'm trying to remember if they gave us an account. I can't remember, but we had simple email. But I don't even think we used it in our school. I'm trying to remember. But I remember going and looking at stuff, things that were interesting. Surfing, right? Early surfing and getting stuck just for hours looking at dumb stuff and cool stuff too. But yeah, and I'm trying to remember. There was a Netscape and there was a Navigator that were your actual your web browsers. So back then, so. Yeah, I have to think about that one for a while and look back. But I think I still have a yahoo.com email address for everything. So anyway.
Love it. Okay, so now moving on to Web 2.0. So it kind of seems like when I was like researching it, it said that when Web 2.0 really like started was when Facebook came out and everything moving towards that more like digital age of involving consumers in a very interactive user experience. And so I would love to hear your thoughts on what Web 2.0 was, because I remember being little and playing like computer games on like kids' websites. And that was probably like in 2005-ish. And then, I continued to use a computer since then. But I don't have a lot of knowledge in the shifting of Web 1.0 to Web 2.0.
Right. And I think actually, if I think about it, I think that your generation really just started with it because Facebook was something you couldn't even use unless you had an edu at the end of your email. So it was strictly for college students. So we couldn't even use Facebook at first. And I didn't do Twitter until like a couple of years, like maybe a year and a year and a half. So I missed a lot of that stuff. And I didn't really care. I mean, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and I think Snapchat. So Web 2 is basically interactive, right? This is where you can add content to YouTube, things like that, but you don't actually own anything that you put on there. I don't think you own at all. It's property of YouTube, probably as one of the okaying all their legalese is that you really just you give over the rights to all of your content. So, but you do get to interact, and you get to interact live, like we're doing now, right? And then we can stream this all over the world, which is amazing that anybody at any time, and then it's recorded. So, yeah, there's interaction. So it's a pretty big step, right? From read only to now you're writing, you're publishing, you're creating, and it's being recorded and can be re-accessed easily. So
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, I think I got Instagram when I was like in 9th grade and Snapchat when I was in 9th grade. And I mean, my first phone wasn't even a smartphone. It was a little BlackBerry, and it could connect to the internet, but it would take away from my minutes. And so it was not advantageous to connect to the internet on that phone. But yeah, so it's interesting, just like from my point of view, is, I would play those games, and then I got social media, in a later time than most people do now. And I remember, I mean, we talked about it in one of our other streams. I tried to get Facebook, but I wasn't supposed to, and then got grounded because I got Facebook.
yeah, you were outside, and you barely got on, and then I asked you to be a friend, and we were just staring at you outside, watching you look at that you figured out that I had just added you as a friend, and I think you had to come in and confess.
Admit to it. Yeah, I was like, there's no way around this.
Oh, that was so funny. I can still see that in my mind. Just to watch. I think I told your mom, I'm like, watch this, and I hit the like button or friend or whatever, and then you had it on your phone, and I could see that panic in your eyes. It was a classic moment.
It was one of those, you have to fess up because there's no way of getting around it.
That's not me.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I was so dumb though, because now if I were to do it, I would have done it differently if I was trying to hide it. Don't friend your family members.
I know.
That's why it popped up on your feed.
And there's also some limitations to Web 2.0, as we've seen over the last couple of years with restrictions. I have a Twitter account, and every time I try to sign in, it says that I'm permanently banned.
Suspended.
Yeah, and I've sent emails to them, so I can get on and I can look at people's their Twitter page, but I can't sign in. I can't comment. And so anyway, I went in and tried to fill out the validate my email address and something. So anyway, so there is you can be censored, you can be blocked because you are not in control. So that's one of the limitations, and we've seen that you can't say certain words. That's not what crypto, that's not what blockchain was for, right? It was for more speech, even if it's wrong. It's or you believe it's not right. So, and these are centralized. So, and that's one of the downfalls to Web 2.0.
Absolutely. Yeah. As I was actually reading through all of this, thinking about making this video, I was like, I hope this doesn't get censored. I don't think it would, but you never know. Just because we're talking about, moving on from that. And so that was actually something that I thought about with this video itself, just talking about, like benefits and not good things about Web 2.0. But something that's really cool is it has laid such a foundation for moving into the future with other technologies. And something that I want to point out moving into talking about Web 3.0 is so Web 1.0 was made by Tim Berners-Lee, and he actually with what he created, he talked about two different concepts, which were decentralization and then something called bottom-up design that he outlined in making the World Wide Web. And I think he knew that he wasn't going to be the one that made it, but it was his vision of the future. And that's kind of what we're going towards. And so I actually have two quotes by him that I want to read. So the one on decentralization, he said, "No permission is needed from a central authority to post anything on the web. There's no central controlling node, and so no single point of failure and no kill switch. This also implies freedom from indiscriminate censorship and surveillance." And so I think that's really interesting that this is something that he said back in the 90s of what it should be. And that's where we're moving towards. And something, this is called the semantic web. And so it's Web 3.0 is going to be this semantic web that he talks about. And then I really liked this just because, I have a coding background. It's about the bottom-up design, and his quote is, "Instead of code being written and controlled by a small group of experts, it was developed in full view of everyone, encouraging maximum participation and experimentation." And we can already see that within crypto with all of the different open source projects that are just in the community. And so I think it's really cool that those are two things that he believed in when he made the World Wide Web, and that's where we're going towards.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love the decentralization. You can't be discriminated on by either what you say or anything else. You're given the opportunity to speak your mind, and you can be wrong, and that's okay, right? You can speak. I mean, you don't have the right to be heard, but you have the right to speak. So I think that is great. So all right. So did you want to move more into what Web 3 actually is?
Yeah, that's great. So we kind of talked about decentralization. What else is there?
You don't need permission to be on the network because there's no permission required. So to log in or something like that, you're just given permission to just access the system. Let's see. No one can block you or deny you access to any service. We saw that over the last couple of years. You couldn't say certain words. You couldn't say certain things. And payments are built in to a native token. So for us, that would be, and hopefully, what we see on the Pulse chain side, that we would just be able to use Pulse, and that would be nice. Just that your wallet is connected, and that it's you can pretty much program anything that you want. And we see that, right? We see a lot of things, the decentralized apps of taking code. I mean, even as much as forking Ethereum and creating the Pulse chain network. And then we see all of these other decentralized apps come online using other code and then growing and building on that, right? Using their code and then for all these items. Some other things that I was just trying to think of. There was some comparisons between Web 2 and Web 1 or Web 3. So Web 2 is Twitter can censor an account or a tweet, and Web 3 would be uncensored because it's decentralized. Nobody's blocking, nobody's doing anything. So your payment services may decide not to allow payments for certain types of work or whatever. Web3 payment apps require no personal data and can't prevent payments. So, I mean, for the individual, it does give more freedom, right? Which is nice. And then servers for apps can go down and affect everybody using that network. But Web3 servers can't go down. They use a decentralized network like the Pulse network on thousands of computers, and I think we'd have 33 validators or something. So it
Yeah.
would be on those, so you can't shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
So for the individual, I think it's a very good thing.
Yeah. Something that I was reading on that too is, as decentralization happens, it means that instead of everything like being on one server, it allows for there to be multiple locations for data to be stored simultaneously. And so like a really good example is like big data giants like Facebook and Google and all those companies have these huge data banks, and by having this decentralization, it actually gives the user more control because it takes that and then allows it to be all over. And then it means for a lot of the time that a lot of that data can't be sold, which, Web 2.0 is like the king of that, of buying and selling data. So it's awesome that instead of us like being the product and companies being the customer of buying our data, it's going to be completely different because the user is actually in control.
Isn't there saying that if you don't pay for a service, you're the product?
Yes. And social media is a great example of that. Like I don't pay for my Instagram account. And so that means that they're selling my data.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some.
Can we jump into some comments real quick? Okay. Let's see. Art says price prediction for Pulse Chain from your dad later. Maybe we can get into that. Let's see. Lots of people just talking about, their experiences within like Web 1.0, Web 2.0. Looks like this is a perfect timing for this show because some people don't know a lot about this. That's great. We do have a question. Maybe I'll ask you this later. If you could go back as a father, what would you do different? Let's see. We have a couple of other ones. Let's see. Governments will not like 3.0 then. Maybe they'll try and block people using it, or is that the idea of a digital ID they want? For example, you'll have to sign in to the internet to use it.
I think in China right now you do have to. They do give you a cell phone, and you do have to sign in and check in. And I think you do have a social score, credit score.
Oh, really?
So yeah, the governments will always want more control. So yeah, they won't like 3.0. It doesn't give them power. It takes their power away. Definitely.
Yeah, which is unfortunate that we are where we are. Can we get rid of cookies, whatever they are? LOL. Yeah, I agree. Actually, just being asked if to allow cookies to be tracked can sometimes be annoying. Let's see. PulseTube said, hopefully RH will stop working Web 3.0. Oh, no. Hey, it's getting views, so hopefully that'll bring people to the Pulse chain. All right, let's see. What else for Web 3.0 are you excited about?
Well, I wanted to kind of do some of the limitations right now. And
Okay,
I think,
perfect.
So scalability, right? So Richard Hart says what? The blockchains are slow, but they're secure. So they're not meant to be fast. So or they're not scalable. So they're slower on Web3 because they're decentralized.
Oh, okay. And can we take a step back on that? So in Web3, the blockchain is going to be used to trace all interaction, correct? So every single thing is going to be tracked. Is that what will happen?
I believe so. It should be in each block, and I'm not entirely sure, but it is in the blockchain, so it will, but it will be recorded in some way. Yeah. So changes to the state, like a payment, need to be processed by a miner and propagated through the network or a validator or something like that. So that's why it's going to be slower. And then the UX, which is the user experience. Is that right? Interacting with Web3 applications require extra steps, software and education, and this can be a hurdle. And that's what we know with blockchain right now, right? Nothing is easy. Everything is difficult and requires a lot of extra detail with respect to everything, right? If you want a wallet, if you want to put something on exchange, if you want to move something, if you want to trade, it's not easy right now. If you so we're still in the developing stages. So that's that's just blockchain right now. I'm sure in 5 years we'll have slick user interfaces that will do everything in the background, and you'll just say, do you want to do this or do you want to do this, and how much do you want to move? What do you want to do? With tokens or with some decentralized app, whatever you want to do. So that will be nice, but that's why this is the beginning of all this, and so it's more difficult, and then there's more opportunity, right? So that's what I always say. Well, the opportunity is when it's hard and when they're building everything, and then once everything is built, the opportunity is gone.
Yeah. Even in like my company that I work for right now, they tried using a specific blockchain to, track the product life cycle.
Mhm.
And that specific blockchain, the fees were so high on it. And so they actually ended up changing blockchains, and they have the blockchain integrated into their whole entire product. So, you see every single block of a product in it going through its life cycle to being sold. And so I know that even in my company, like they've struggled with specific things like that.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they changed blockchains if there was one that had a better user experience.
Oh yeah, one that was faster and cheaper to use.
Yeah,
Is there one that's coming up, I think, in the next little bit?
I know. I actually started talking to people about that, but
We'll leave that for later. We'll
yeah.
reveal that in a little while. There was also some accessibility. It says the lack of integration in modern web browsers makes Web3 less accessible to most users. So we'll see some. We're just building tracks, right? After the cart and horse, they had to build roads, and there was a little, it took some time to build roads with rubber, for cars and things like that. So we're just kind of in those first stages, and then cost was also kind of a negative. It says most successful decentralized apps put very small portions of their code on the blockchain as it's expensive. So anyway, so there was some items that were limitations to Web3.
Yeah.
So there, and some of the things, so we're looking at all the items like maybe a YouTube, and I think we have one Theta that is kind of like YouTube, but it's decentralized, and then another one like audio. So we're looking at how we can use the Web 2.0 applications, and then how we can move them to decentralization, and so that you and I are the owners of these things, because so that if you make instructional videos, you're the owner. You're the one who will receive any sort of either accolades or any sort of monetary. I think you can get some monetary value or compensation for doing videos and having subscribers and things. But if you wanted to do instructional videos and they were very popular, then you would be the one making the money, and you were the owner.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things of Web 3.0. So hopefully on the Pulse Chain Network, we'll see people, and we actually do, right? There was one project that you did an interview probably a month ago, Pulse Speak.
Yes. Pulse Speak.
Right? So that is a social network, right? And the
Yep.
cool thing about, wasn't it, that people would place bets? Was there some
Yeah,
sort of,
there was a whole I don't want to say life cycle, but like a way of going about things and placing bets, and yeah, it was a very interesting
on
product.
people's comments or on their predictions?
Yep. And you could make predictions, you could make posts. There's like a whole array of things that you could do.
And you would use Pulse, the Pulse token for movement of that. So yeah. So I'm hoping, in the future, I'm sure it will probably come out in the next little while. We'll probably have everything that was on the ERC20 side on the PRC20 side of all of these decentralized apps moving into Web 3.0. And so, yeah. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else. We're just really moving from centralization to decentralization, and that the individual will benefit rather than either a government or an organization or a business. Is that it's centered around the individual.
Yeah. I saw this one thing that talked about how Facebook changed their name to Meta and how it was like a green flag in moving towards Web 3.0, that they're starting to adapt because they still want to be relevant when Web 3.0 comes out. So I thought that was interesting. And then I also read another thing that talked about how the pandemic has actually been a really good thing for Web 3.0 because so many people had to start working online and everyone was forced to be on a computer. And so it made it so there's even more of a need for Web 3.0. So I thought that was kind of cool, just like looking at it both those different ways, that it is something that we need. And I like looked up like when Web 3.0 will like officially come out type thing, and it said that maybe in the 2020s that it would. I'm just like seeing how everything in the web has gone so far, but things are going to be launched and then it's going to take adoption. So it's interesting, just that it will take time even when things do come out.
Yeah, absolutely. And the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
That is an entirely new. That's why Facebook wanted to turn into Meta, right? So that they could get in front of it.
Yep, totally.
It's a decentralized decentralization, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with that one. Let's say hi to some people. Ronnie Stern is here. Hi, friends. Hello. Let's see. We have Cal. Everything is difficult, but you can trace every move on the chain. Very true. Let's see. Is that legit FC's actual dad? Are you my actual dad?
I actually am.
Yeah. If you saw us in person, you would actually definitely know. We have the exact same color of eyes. And hair, honestly, too. Let's see. Schwa, a new shiny functional toy that works well enough to raise all ships who choose to dock in its ports.
Yeah.
And let's see. Sandy Beach is here. Hello. So sorry if I've missed anyone. We have buying a soul position when it hits $20. Oh, that's for Solana. Awesome. Let's see. And when unbiased algorithms? Hopefully soon.
Well, I guess it's probably going to be when, probably never. So, yeah, that's that. Hopefully, the unbiased will be in when it's decentralized. So, or when Elon Musk buys Twitter, if he ever buys it. But then, who knows? Who knows what happens?
Yeah. So kind of just to wrap up our Web 3.0 discussion, first, do you want to add anything that you forgot to say?
No, I think now is we're kind of everything is down, right? And we're kind of heading into a bear, and it could last probably 6 months to 9 months to a year. And those who've been with this more than a year in crypto know that this is just what happens. And actually, this is the best time to start looking for those really good projects to really, and then start investing in those. And, so just be aware that's the time to accumulate, because that's when the wealthy make their money. They make their money after crashes because they have cash to buy stuff, and they make their money by buying the tokens that are on sale 90%, 95%. So this is the time. So definitely, um, when we were throwing money, and we all did when things were going up, now is actually a better time to do that because Hex is on sale right now. It may move a teeny bit further down. I have some limit orders in, and if it goes down, it's a great thing. So because I think K4K, did everybody see the K4K 60-second every single crash on Hex? That I love that. It was like it went down 80%, and then it went up 1,300%, and then went down 95%, and then it went up 2,300%. I love that. And he's like, and then in the end, he's like, "Don't buy Hex." So a shout out to K4K for that because I thought that was awesome.
You texted me that video even.
It was so good. I had to send that to you because it was true. It was so funny. But yeah, definitely now is the time to find those projects because everything is on sale between 85 to 95% off. So
Okay, so what is your sleeper project?
oh, I've got a couple.
You do?
Well, I besides Pulse, PulseX, and Hex.
Yes.
So on the Pulse Chain Network, I two in conjunction. I really want to use Power City's front end for doing some of the doing the liquid loans, some of those protocols. So I'm really excited for liquid loans. I can't wait. Hopefully they'll come out with do a test net so we can play with the Pulse, our Pulse chain tokens on testnet, and so I'm excited for that. I'm kind of excited for that Pulse LN, right? The Lightning Network.
Oh yeah,
To write to Bitcoin. Hopefully they're going to be able to do a fiat on and off ramp, or
yeah.
because if it's on Bitcoin. So,
And they have a test net, by the way.
Oh, they do?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. So I'll have to mess around with that. I'm trying to think what else I sacrificed.
What's outside of the Pulse Chain Network?
So, okay. So outside anywhere else, like I said, probably 3 years ago, I just bought a lot of everything. Or I bought a little bit of everything, and then it went up. So I have Bitcoin, I own Ethereum, I own Polkadot, I own XRP, I own Cardano. I owned all of them because they were all ships and I didn't know which ones were going to do well. So I just bought all of them, and some have done better. I bought some Terra Luna. I was staking that. It was doing great. And
then not so great.
And then it's gone. And that's okay, because that was the ship that didn't come back. But I also bought Hex, and I also staked it, and I also saw this one was great, right? So, and I purchased a lot, and I'm holding them because I think some of them will still go to zero, but some of them will do well. I hope that they all do well. I think that that Hex will do well. I think Pulse Chain will do great over the long run. I think there's I don't know. So I did I'm staking Cardano, but I bought it like 2.5 cents. So, and that was the time to buy it, right?
Yeah, it was.
And we sat there and we watched it do nothing for like a year.
Yeah. I didn't look at my crypto, I don't think, for an entire year.
Yeah. So always keep that in mind. Be looking for. So yeah, I'm hopeful that everything once the ETFs come into to Bitcoin, once there'll be a spot ETF for Bitcoin, I think a lot of money will come in, and then Bitcoin will go up, and then people will take profits of the Bitcoin and then start feeding Ethereum and then the other larger altcoins. And
what's an ETF? Sorry.
Exchange traded fund. So
okay.
So a lot of you'll be able to trade them on a centralized exchange. Um, so a bunch of money should come in at that point. I'm hopeful. So
Okay.
the SEC is waiting um, to okay it. In fact, I've received some information from one of the ETFs that I do have, stating, "Hey, will you please send this to the SEC and have them push it through?" So they'll
Oh,
probably do a bunch at once. So not financial advice, but this we'll hopefully that this is what happens soon. And I think,
yeah,
but we might be in a market where everything is down for the next while. We don't know how long. Something will spark it off. It'll be, yeah. So um, I know a lot of people don't like Cardano. It is slow. Some people don't like Charles Hoskinson, who's the founder. Kind of like some people don't like Richard Hart.
there's
so,
no winning.
so Cardano is slow, but they're methodical. Um, so I'm hopeful a bunch of them will work. So, but I do love Hex. I love the idea, um, and that's where I put my energy because I think I'm hopeful that that's where good things are going. So,
Absolutely.
hopefully, did that answer the question?
Yep, I think it did. Okay, what can the average person do to encourage the development and adoption of Web 3.0?
Probably support those projects. Find the projects that are out there, and then I don't know if Pulse Speak still has their sacrifice. I think they do actually. I
I
think
will
it's
look right now.
so. Yeah, just support those projects, and just supporting any of the projects on Pulse Chain. Even some of them aren't going to work, right? But my philosophy is support those ones um, that are on Pulse Chain on the testnet. Um, Even if it's putting $50 or $100 into their sacrifice, um, that's um, kind of my philosophy. So I think PulseSpeak still is open, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just currently on their website. Oh, okay, yeah, it is. And they just have a specific rate, so kind of how a lot of the other sacrifices have been.
Right. And some new ones came online just in the last couple of days for sacrifice. So
Oh, yeah, I know. I've been seeing new projects pop up too, which has been kind of interesting just because I see it and I'm like, oh, what? What does that mean? What is that project? Let's see. What are your health strengthening regimens of choice? What healthy things do you prioritize with? Okay, my dad is very into things like this. You're really good at researching things and like finding what like really works. And I feel like you've like done a really good job at this. So Dad, maybe say like 2 of the things you like.
oh, okay. So I like intermittent fasting. Um, I used to, so I don't eat breakfast normally. I try to just eat dinner at like 6 o'clock and then don't eat until noon. I do like one meal a day, OMAD too, but it's hard for me to do. I sometimes are a little bit short if I don't eat lunch. Um, I do like I do like meditation too. I do Wim Hof breathing.
These
So
are all crazy.
I know it's fun though. Um,
It works though for you.
yeah, I think it's a good thing. So those are some things, and then diet. Just trying to stay away from sugar and white flour and stuff like that has been probably the best thing for me. But I still have trouble because I like candy and I drink kombucha because I like sugary. I like sugary, flavorful, carbonated drinks. So
Well, at least you have
kombucha.
kombucha.
What was that?
It's a good thing you have kombucha.
Yeah, so it gets rid of most of the sugar. So those are the things I do, and then exercise. I'm kind of on and off on that, more off than on lately.
It's okay. Honestly, same. I mean, I've told you I do not like the gym I'm going to right now, and so I have no motivation to go there,
Yeah,
which kind of sucks.
I
But
like the gym that I'm going to, but anyway. But yeah, those are some things so that I like to do, and I need more exercise. That's what your mom says.
she's really
And
good.
she's right.
She exercises every day
Yeah, no, it's
in the
good.
morning. I'm trying to think. I feel like for me, I don't eat a particular diet, but our family, we did Whole30 several years ago, and just since then, I feel like it kind of has. We've just like kind of kept up with the gluten-free part. We definitely still eat dairy, but I was living at home, and so I was eating all of the meals that you guys would cook. So I, have whatever you had. So I feel like I don't typically eat a ton of gluten, but also like where I'm at in my life, I don't think it super matters.
No, you're too young.
I was telling you, Dad, the other day that I eat so much sugar, which is probably not something to be proud of, but I am definitely a candy type of gal, and I always have been since a very young age.
You do
Um,
like candy.
yeah, but I don't know that I don't really feel like I follow anything else. Just I drink a ton of water. That's actually probably what I'm best at. I
You're
try to drink a gallon of water a day.
Yeah, and sleep too. I
Yeah.
really try to get like 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep a night. I think it's important. So, okay, great question.
Cool. Let's see. We have a couple more. So Ronnie Stern said, "Should I trade ETH for more hex?" And then Arth said, "That's what I'm doing, Ronnie, but not financial advice." And then someone else said, "Get your T shares, Ronnie."
Yeah, so you can trade. In fact, if you have a MetaMask wallet, you can just do the swap. You don't have to go to Uniswap. You can get some hex right now. The great thing is that it will actually be um, you will right before when they fork for the when they take the block, when they copy the block over and they fork, um, you'll have the Ethereum hex, and then you'll have the Pulse chain side hex. So you'll double your hex, and they're going to move, and they'll be volatile, but you'll get both copies. So that will be something, and then you can stake those, and the stake will move through to the Pulse chain side, so you'll have duplicate copies of all of your. So it would be a good idea to take some, but you'll always need some Ethereum in your wallet to because Ethereum will always be what you're using for gas. So hopefully, once Ethereum 2.0 comes out, it will be cheaper. But I hear a lot of people saying that they don't think it'll ever be cheaper, and it won't be. It might be faster, but it'll never be cheaper. So it would be good to spend some. I would probably try to buy some now when it's at 5 cents. Um, so and then maybe buy some more. Yeah, it's about 5.5 cents. And, yeah, and actually, yeah, Matcha is a good place. Um, we can get you some more information on buying that, because I think with Matcha you can actually do a limit order, so you can scale down. You can if you buy some at 5.5 cents and buy some at 4 cents, and if it goes to 3 or something like that, then you can dollar cost average in. So, yep, that's good.
Cool. So, question for me on that. So, what if I want to dollar cost average in? So, I need to have whatever coin that I'm going to trade. So, it's probably going to be USDC. I need to have that in my wallet, and then I put those limit orders on. And then if it hits that order limit, then it will fulfill that. Is that what happens?
Yeah, I haven't used Matcha. I've seen some of the tutorials on that. I actually have some hex in Hotbit. It's another exchange, and so that everything on that besides Ethereum and Bitcoin are all limit orders, and you're trading USDT rather than the USDC coin. So, but then I'm going to have to move it over to, because it's a centralized exchange, move it back onto MetaMask once I buy them, so that I can get credit for them once the snapshot is taken.
Gotcha. Logan Lancaster said, love it. Keep up the great work, Fashion Coder. Thanks so much. And then just FYI, with matcha, you need at least $1,000 minimum.
Okay.
So there is that.
Okay. So yeah, so if you've got some Ethereum, or you could just, like I said, open an account on Hotbit. So that's, or the other thing, yeah, you wouldn't, if you just use MetaMask and their swap, you'll just have to pay market price and then pay the Ethereum fee, whatever the GUI is at that point. So not as good, because usually some of those dips happen in the middle of the night, but they're picked up pretty fast. So, but anyway, yeah, so the hex would be good because you're going to double it over, and then you can stake it. So yeah, that's good. I'm enjoying the Maximus DAO and Hedron as well. I mean, there's some cool things going on, derivatives of hex that make it more liquid. So anyway, yeah.
Cool. Well, I hope Hex hits 1 cent just for personal gain, but that would be awesome if it did.
Yeah, catch it on the way down. Yeah, and then that would be dollar cost averaging. So, I mean, if your stakes are coming up, it's probably not a great time, uh, but you just stake it again. So, anyway, and it'll be great when it's on Pulse Chain because it will be really fast. I was showing somebody today how fast. I think it got faster. I know the block time is still the same, but the transactions were happening really fast. It was pretty fast. It was sharp. It was, it was working well. So keep testing, keep doing your test net training.
Yeah, I was impressed seeing your account the other day, and you were on 570 transactions. I was like, I am nowhere even near that.
Yeah, I do it all the time. I'm practicing with all the farming and the liquidity pool. So I'm probably not going to do that when mainnet comes. I probably will just stake PulseX and probably just stake the Pulse chain. Just on the regular staking, though, I don't think it will be very much. But I'm not going to. I don't. I don't understand the liquidity pools and stuff to make money. So I'm going to stay away from those. But I'll probably do some liquid loans, protocols, and use Power City as the front end to that. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Nice. Let's see. Rick said, yeah, I had a stake N 3 days ago, but it was going to cost $98 to restake. ETH really sucks.
It does. It does. And I mean, that is the best case for Pulse Chain when somebody has to do anything on the Ethereum network. You learn instantly what the value of the Pulse Chain network is going to do when I show everybody it's 0.00 to 1 Pulse Chain. So anyway, yeah. So I think it will do well. I'm excited. I'm excited for things, whether it's in 2 weeks or a month. And we're all staked anyway, right? Everybody who
Yeah.
who sacrificed, it's staked right now for you, because you can't access it. So, but I think Richard Hart knows what he's doing. That's my faith is that he knows what he's doing. So what's this? What is the price projection for Pulse from FC's dad? I don't know. I'm kind of just hoping. I'm kind of hoping for 100x maybe in the next 6 months.
Okay.
Is that fair enough?
Yeah, I think that's a good number. I have no clue.
Yeah, 50 to 100x in the first 6 months. If we're still in kind of a bear market until some money moves back into the market. So
Yeah.
That would be great.
Let's see. Constantine said, could you please explain how to use Power City with liquid loans? So I don't think we know how to yet because neither of them have released test nets. So there's no tutorial on that as of right now, but there is potential that test nets will be launched from what the founders have said. And what Liquid Loans has is there's going to be able to be a front end that is going to be used on other projects. And so Power City is one of the projects that wants to have this front end that can go into and like automate the process.
It automates the strategy. So if you know anything about the haunted strategy, where they're just going to keep buying Pulse once it does a 10% pump, um, or there's Hod Pearl's strategy of I think she was just staked in the liquid loan token and receiving income. I think let's see, the long vacation, he has a strategy out where he takes it out and um, he buys properties. Was that right? What he wanted to do, buy real estate,
Yeah, I
and then
think so.
from there he would then um, put some of the profits back in, keep feeding them through. And I don't know how that would actually work on there, but there's an incentive token. I think there's the loan token, and then there's another, and then the USDL token, and it's just it automatically just puts in the restakes it, or puts or buys more pulse per whatever the parameters of the strategy was. So it automates it for you. So I'm really excited about that.
And I remember, I think there's like a semi-automated and then a fully automated. So you get to choose like how hands-on you are with it.
Right. So if you're practicing on the Pulse testnet, and you are farming, Pulse X, Pulse pair, liquidity pair, you're getting an incentive token, and it just is growing every day at X amount percentage, right? And you're getting the some of the fees and stuff like that. Well, you get the incentive token, and then so I just do it every day. I I harvest all of the incentive tokens, and then I use the incentive token, and then I pair up some more Pulse X or some Pulse Chain. I add it liquidity, and then I just stake more of it, or I just add it to the on the farming. So that's what I do every day, just for fun, just to keep practice. And then I go to the burn section and see, and I can't burn one of them. There's one that's a POG token. Does anybody know what the POG token is? It's a pulse POG pair.
Huh.
Yeah, see if anybody knows what that is, because I need to find out what that one is. But I wasn't able to burn it or to do the buy and burn on that.
Huh.
So POG. So
Very interesting. A wild SJ appears. Hey, SJ, what's up?
hey,
And then, hey, Frank. Thanks for showing up. And then we do have this question. I think this is funny. Do you two have a favorite sports team? Are you a sports family? Have you ever watched sports, Dad?
yeah, I watched the Super Bowl.
Okay. I watched the halftime of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
That's
we're
the
not
kind
a
of
we are not a sports family.
yeah, we aren't. I don't know if it's because we're, you have all girls, but also I feel like you were into that even before you had.
No, we played soccer, and I coached a couple of the teams. Player of games.
Are you a player of games, Dad?
Yeah, well,
You don't
some
like
video
it.
games, board games, not as much. Um,
Some of my sisters are really into games though, like
they
board
do. Mhm.
engine building games.
They do. They love those.
I'm
That
like
one,
halfway.
Wingspan was fun. That was pretty
Oh
cool. You
yeah.
liked that one.
Yeah, I actually did the single player because I liked it so much.
Yeah, yeah. There's some cool games out there. I always
Yeah.
just try to do Uno or like Pictionary or something. Or what's that one? The meme game.
Oh, what do you mean?
What do you mean? That's kind of fun. So like, God, you
Yeah.
guys all cheating.
Yeah, I will admit it, and I admit it every time. I'm a big cheater in the game of what do you mean? I always put in extra cards.
Yeah,
Always.
we figured that out. But yes, some of the games are fun. Yeah. So,
Let's see. Does FC Dad give paid lessons like some of the other YouTubers in the RH community?
paid lessons for.
I think just about crypto.
Oh no, I don't.
You just
I
do it
just
for fun.
I do it because I like it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't charge anybody. I think if they're
Yeah.
interested. Um, I don't know if I know enough to do that.
I have 4 sisters, so there's
Yeah.
5 girls. Which is so exciting. I love all my sisters, and it's awesome. Let's see. I'm here once again to remind the Hex community that Fashion Dad is Chad.
Thanks.
Let's see. I'm the oldest of 4 and have 4 siblings. Wow, that's a lot. Big family. Oh, and look. Hey, Crypto Heartbeat. Hey
Hey,
there,
how
Dad.
you doing?
My dad loves you, Crypto Heartbeat.
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, I like the charity work. I'd love to do something with do some microloans for in third world countries. We could do some Hex, start a Hex World Bank or something. Um, I don't know if anybody has any ideas, but that's something that me and my wife have wanted to do for probably 10 or 15 years is do something where they could access microloans. So we need some sort of a fiat off ramp or something, but I don't know. That could be good.
Heck yeah. Let's see. Thomas said, thanks for sharing strategies. Have we ever dug into a bot? Have you ever?
I did some on KuCoin. I did a bot last year with some Cardano, and I think I made maybe like 500. I think I was able to make about 500 Cardano on top of that.
Oh, well,
So
that's
I mean, it was good. So
nice. Hey, Hexdeck. I met him in one of my streams one time. Good to see you.
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
and guess what? You got a comment, Dad, on your background.
Right.
They like
So
it. It looks cool.
yeah, so I added the LEDs on the bottom, and just for something different, and turned off the main light in my office. So this is the corner of my office. So
It's awesome. And
thanks.
Hexacat is also here. He is in the Liquid Loans channel.
Yep, we're excited.
Hello. I'm sure you've seen him before. And it looks like Crypto Sloss here. What's up?
Hey,
Oh, this is a good question. When Roundtable of Sisters, imagine the whole family is this smart and on point.
yeah, they're pretty smart.
I wonder if everyone would join.
That might be kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, I think it might be somewhat chaotic, just to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be lively.
Yes, it would be. That's definitely how our family is. Oh, this is also a good question. You two on board mom yet?
Yeah, yeah. She does her thing and lets me do all of the investing. And though I do ask for advice sometimes on stuff. So, but yeah, she's on board.
Yeah, and sometimes what she does is like, I'll be talking to you about whatever project it is, and then you tell her, and then she's able to like tell me because you like will tell me it, and then you'll talk to her about it, and then she'll be like, oh, this is it. If I have more questions, and so I feel like we have a good little communication of what's going on, which is awesome.
No, that's great.
Oh, I like this. The blue light is telling me Web 3.0 is the future.
I think it is. I think it is. So I do believe that the blockchain will take over all of the financial system. There's $200 trillion in it right now, and we have 2 trillion in blockchain right now. So it has 100x from here. So what that will be, we don't know. So yeah. So as maybe as these Web3s come up, we'll have to do Web3 specials on Pulse Chain because it will obviously work better on Pulse Chain than it will on Ethereum. So yeah, I think maybe that's a great idea of what's coming up. So
It's exciting. Let's see. That Pulse player said, "Hey, Bastion, I'm your biggest fan." That's so nice. Thanks. Let's see. Any other questions from the chat before we end this live stream? We're about at that hour mark. Do you have any last words, Dad?
no, Well, yeah, just I think going back about we're in a lull right now. Things are boring, but that's when the wealthy make their money. When it's not exciting and when it's flat, Bitcoin is just hovering around what 29 to 31K for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Nothing's happening. And people don't like it when it's that way, but it's a good time. This is the time when the patient make their money. They know they have a conviction of what they believe will happen, and they act on it, and they're rewarded for just being consistent over time. So, and just buying those dips and stuff like that. So that would be and then look forward to a Web3 stuff. Get in front of it, right? Because with Pulse Chain, we can get in front of everything, right? We will be able to buy into these into these tokens and these in Pulse Chain. We're in front of the wave, right? So we can ride that wave and get in early on these projects. So yeah, so maybe we could just kind of keep an eye out for other ones that are coming up, and then talk about those.
Cool. I want to answer this question. Could Golang be V3, you think? And so what this question means, if you don't know what it means, is for version 3 of mainnet, do we think that the Go code is going to be in it? I'm hopeful that that's what it will be. I have no information if that's what it will be, but I'm hopeful that they will release that. We also had a couple of other people jump in. Hey, Tin Top and Excellent Choice. Let's see. If Bitcoin goes down to 10K, how much will Hex move down?
I don't know. It tends to kind of go on its own. Once,
yeah.
When if Bitcoin were to move down, it would probably move down, but at some point, it seems like it kind of does its own thing when Bitcoin takes a dump. It tends to move up because people are looking for more security.
Yeah, that's very true. And
it could go down. I mean, yeah, we could hit 10K. Richard might be right. So good opportunity to buy that one Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, what's your confidence out of 10 on Pulse Chain being launched in June?
I'm thinking July now. And that's okay.
It is.
It's like,
okay.
I feel bad for those people that probably got loans on some money that really need to pay it off. But I'm thinking sometime in July. I'd say maybe 3 in June, but I'm kind of shooting for July.
Okay.
So
yeah, I feel
but
like it's low.
I could be surprised, and that's great. But either way, it'll be fine.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
Totally. Oh, thanks, Hexinator. Dollar cost average, great stream fashion coder. Thanks. Okay, let's end this on this note then. I do want to say one more thing about, what this whole topic was about is, moving from the web 1.0 to 2 to 3. I read about this analogy and I just thought it was really good, moving forward, thinking about it. And I'm going to read it. So it's of what movies were. So if Web 1.0 represented the black and white movie area, Web 2.0 would be the age of color and basic 3D, while Web 3.0 would be immersive experiences in the metaverse. So moving forward, I think we're really at a great spot to be able to, move into Web 3.0. And it's going to take adoption, and that's going to take time. But it is exciting that we can see it on the horizon, and there's already projects that are being made to be able to bring Web 3.0.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome. Well, Dad, thanks so much for coming on stream, and thanks to everyone in the chat for just being so interactive, and good to see all the people that were here, and everyone have a wonderful night.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.